In today's video, I'm gonna share with you how to create a gorgeous, one-of-a-kind fall wreath DIY. Keep watching. Hello everyone, welcome back to Ramon at Home. I'm so excited you're here today because in this video, I'm going to share with you how you can create your very own one-of-a-kind DIY wreath for your front door. Yes, I'm gonna give you step-by-step instructions on how you can create a beautiful one-of-a-kind wreath for fall this year. Two things before we get started with this video. I want to mention there's going to be a bow that we're gonna use on this wreath. Well, there is a tutorial linked in the description box below in case that you want to follow this bow making video. Is going to be necessary for the making of this beautiful fall wreath. And number two, if you don't want to make this wreath, there's going to be a one-of-a-kind wreath on my Etsy shop, and then also is going to be linked down below. Remember, there's only one available, which is the one you'll see in this video. All right, you guys, before we get started, also I want to ask that if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, and if you're already subscribed, don't forget to turn the notification bell on because you will not want to miss all of the fall season here at Ramon at Home. Also, be sure to give the video a thumbs up if you enjoy it and share it with your friends because it is free and it really helps the channel. You want to invite them to come and join us for our beginning of our fall season that starts right now, and to share with you how to create a gorgeous fall wreath DIY step by step. I'm gonna take you to the studio and I'm gonna give you all the materials you're going to need. Okay, so to create this fabulous fall wreath, I'm going to share with you the materials we're going to need, and that's going to be a greenery wreath. You guys, this is a Christmas greenery wreath. As I told you before, I like to keep them in hand because I like to make plenty of wreaths for my Etsy shop. So we're gonna need one of these wreaths. The main source of the inspiration for this wreath is going to be this little plaque with a pumpkin and some foliages. I just thought it was super cute with a bow right here with burlap. So that's gonna be the center of our wreath. To fill in our wreath, I'm going to be using this fabulous deco material with a really beautiful sparkly thread you guys will see in the close-up. Then for my ribbons, I'm gonna use this mesh, and look how beautiful this looks with this right here, you guys. It's gonna be so glorious. I'm gonna use this mesh ribbon from Shinoda Design Center, and then I'm going to use my favorite ribbon I shared with you on our shopping haul for fall from David Christopher's. So when I'm using some of that, I'm gonna use this inspiration ribbon that has the little green truck with some pumpkins. I'm also gonna use a burlap 1.5 inch ribbon and a 1/7 of an inch pumpkin ribbon that also has that little glitter to make our door really shimmer this fall season. I'm gonna use some pumpkins because the sign has some pumpkins, so I wanted to really tie in. So I'm gonna use 3 medium-sized pumpkins. I'm gonna use some sunflowers because our wreath also features, not our wreath, but our plaque really features some cute sunflowers. So we're gonna add some sunflowers and some pumpkins to really tie it in all together. I'm gonna use some fall foliages that I got at Hobby Lobby and some of these really beautiful green. You guys know I'm obsessed with this green and brown foliages from David Christopher. So we're gonna mix all of those together. Now, like I was telling you, the inspiration for this is the plaque, and as you guys can see on the little plaque, it has some of that green foliage and then also some of the orange foliage, and you can always pull your colors from your plaque. It has the green sign in it, and that's why I chose this green burlap ribbon to go with it. So we have to pull all of those colors, extract them from the picture, and start using them on our material. And I cannot wait for you guys to see if this comes out the way that I'm thinking. It's gonna be absolutely gorgeous. Then also I'm gonna use some of these little picks that have some of that foliage, a hydrangea, some berries, and I'm gonna use for accents some of these mini sunflowers. All right, so I'm going to get started, but I have to clear all these things. I'm going to fluff the wreath. You know that is the first step, to fluff it and give it life. Once I do all of this, I'll be right back with you guys with give you a step number 1. Keep watching. Okay, so now that we know all of the materials we're going to need for this beautiful fall wreath DIY, it's time to get started. Okay, so as you can see, I already fluffed the wreath, so I'm gonna take it off the stand and I'm gonna put it on my table because the very first step, or step number 1, is going to be to do our deco material. Now, I really do love this one because it's kinda have burlap texture to it. It doesn't really stretch much, which means it's not going to fray much, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do a loop like this, holding some of that extra down, and what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab my wreath and I'm gonna grab 2 of those bristles and I'm going to twist them really, really tight. You have to make sure that it's really tight the first time, so that way you get this loop right here. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my burlap material, and you know what I'm going to do is I have this basket right here, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this deco material into the basket. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another poof, and they're probably about 8 to 10 inches, and then you twist right here. Now the secret on this is to not just twist and leave the poof right there, but you have to go in there and really finesse it or fluff it, and then you continue to spin your wreath one more time. Now I do want to mention that when you are spinning your wreath, be sure to spin all at one side. Don't be spinning to the left and to the right, because that will create less motion on it. So what you need to do is you need to do your poof about 6 to 8 inches, 8 to 10 inches, depends on how poofy you want it. I want it pretty poofy, so then you stick your hand in there and then you fluff like this. So one more time, we're going to do another little poof. And like I was telling you, this deco material is really good because it doesn't fray. Unlike the least expensive material that if you pull on it, you basically are left with a mess. And I'm gonna share with you real quick. I have some right here that I just undid our 4th of July, and look how tangled up it is. That's because this is very inexpensive deco material, to where this more pricey one, it really is fabricated so it doesn't fray much and it doesn't pull, especially if you're using it with this greenery, because this greenery has wires in it, so it tends to really pull on those fibers, and it just creates a mess. So once again, I'm gonna do another loop right here. I'm gonna open up 2 of my bristles, and then I'm going to twist really tight. And look how pretty, just go in there and then fluff it, and that's what's going to create a more beautiful wreath for your front door. Now I know a lot of you make this for sale, and I'm going to try and teach you as much as I can of how I make my wreaths for my Etsy shop, so that you too can create beautiful wreaths for your customers. All right, so now that I have my last one right here, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to once again attach with 2 of the bristles, and I'm gonna share with you what it looks like. So once again, just stick your hand in there and be sure to fluff it apart. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna cut right here, and make sure that you cut in a straight with your scissors. I'm gonna put this right here, and I wanna just show you real quick. So this is what the first layer looks like, and look how puffy and fluffy it really is, and I just absolutely love it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do a secondary tier all the way on the outer perimeter of the wreath. I'm gonna do that off camera, and I'll be right back with you to give you step number 2, so keep watching. All right, everyone, so for this next step, what we're going to do is we're going to glue our plaque onto our wreath. And to do that, I'm gonna just get rid of that string that it comes with. I'm gonna take my wreath off the stand and I'm gonna place it down. Now, I do wanna make sure that I grab a stick, some sort of a stick that you may have, because we're gonna need it, because we're gonna use some hot glue. So what we're going to do is we're gonna grab our hot glue gun. We kind of want to see where we want our plaque, and then you're gonna do some glue on the plaque. Let me show you. So I kind of want it right here, and be generous with your glue, because they have to really stick out to our wreath form and to our deco material. So just be generous, and I like to use some of the Gorilla Glue, because I feel like it really does hang on to it. So I'm gonna put it like this sideways. And not only I'm going to place it like that, but I'm also going to push down onto this, trying to save some of these loops. Just be sure you fluff them as you press down. Now I'm going to have to press down for a few minutes because I want it to stay right there. And then what you need to do also is grab your hot glue gun while it's still warm. And then right here on the side, as I press, I'm going to put some of the glue. And I'm going to do some more on this side right here, like that. And so now I'm gonna put my glue gun right here. Now I'm gonna press. I'll be right back with you to give you step number 3. Keep watching. Okay, so now that your wreath has rested for a while, what you need to do is go back to your plaque, and with this hot glue gun and one stick, what you need to do is find some way to, like right here, I feel like I need to secure it. So I'm gonna put generously, I'm gonna add glue to it. And then to not burn yourself, what you need to do is grab your stick right here and then go under it and push up towards the plaque. And that's going to help you secure this plaque right there without having to burn your hands. It is good if it is like a wooden stick or a plastic stick, somewhere where your plaque will not melt into it, and wood is just perfect for that. All right, so now I'm going to hang this back into our, oh, let me move this guy over here, back into our stand, and I'll show you. So here is our focal point. It's gonna look so beautiful. Now I'm gonna go get the rest of my items that I'm gonna add to this wreath, and I'll be right back. I'm so excited for you guys to see the next step. Keep watching. All right, everyone, so for step number 3 of this beautiful fall wreath was to make these bows and attach them. And for that, I made a separate video that is already been published. So I'm gonna link it down below and somewhere here on the screen so you guys can see how I made these beautiful ribbons with 4 types of ribbons, and I did 2 of them, and I also share with you how to attach them. So that was step number 3. So now for step number 4, we're going to fill in the rest of our wreath with the rest of the ribbons, and I'm gonna share with you how to do that. And so for that, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab my mesh material. Look how beautiful this is, you guys. It's so glittery. I just absolutely love it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right here. I'm gonna give it a cut. I'm gonna give it a fresh cut on an angle. And what I like about this is you can really expand it, and I'll show you in a second. So I'm gonna start right here on the top. I'm gonna bend it. I'm gonna look for a bristle up here coming out of this bow, so as close as I can to the bow. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just attach and cross them like that. And so that's gonna give me an extra bow on my ribbon. And then I'm going to do a loop like this, and then I'm going to attach right here. Look at that, how absolutely beautiful. That just has that glitter. And so I'm gonna give it another loop right here, so about an 8-inch, and then I'm going to attach with 2 bristles. And that's what's so important, that you make your wreaths with this particular type of wreath forms, because it really allows you to play with so many items and ribbons, because it has all these bristles just ready for you, right? So I'm gonna do one more loop right here, and then I'm going to twist like this. Look at that. And what I like about this is because you can really pull it apart and you can really see those. And I'm gonna cut at an angle right here on the bottom and just leave another tail. And so now I'm gonna bring the wreath forward to me so that I can do this side, and then you guys can see better how I do it. So I'm going to cut at an angle. Now I'm gonna give it once again a tail, about a 5 to 6 inch tail. And you want to start right here on the top where the bow ended, like this, and then you bend it forward like this. And so now we're going to do yet another loop right here in the middle. Look at that. You see how that loop just brings all that fall glitter, and oh, it's so beautiful. The color is perfect for fall. And what I was telling you earlier, it is important to have a focal point, in this case our plaque, because all of these colors come from it, and it just creates a more cohesive wreath and look. And it just, your customers or your family members are going to love it. Your guests, if you're just doing it for yourself, they're gonna love it, because it really is so pleasing to the eye to see all of the colors. All right, so I'm gonna cut right here on an angle one more time. So I'm done with this one, and because I already have the wreath done on this side, what I'm going to is I'm gonna bring now my David Christopher's ribbon, and what I'm going to is I'm gonna give it a fresh dovetail right here, and I'm going to repeat this step by finding another bristle, so that way it looks more like intentional, so it looks like you're really meant to put all of these loops in. And once again, just let that tail flop like that. Oh, it's okay. And then I'm going to cross my bristles right here, and I'm gonna do yet another loop. And what I'm trying to do is just go all the way to the bottom of it, making loops like that. And then I'm going to grab my ribbon, I'm gonna give it another loop, and then just end right here at the bottom. Look how pretty that is. And for that, I'm going to also just give it a dovetail tail like that. And so now I'm going to do yet the other side. And so remember what I always tell you, what happens on the left happens on the right, and what goes up must come down. If you keep that in mind, you're always going to have beautifully balanced wreaths and arrangements, because you have to repeat right away from one side to the next. So that way it is well balanced and it has the same material. Sometimes when you're in a hurry, you tend to forget. And so if you just continue to do what happens on the right happens on the left, you will always have a beautifully designed wreath, floral arrangement, even your Christmas trees, you guys. Remember, I told you last Christmas, and now we'll explain more this holiday season about when you're creating a beautiful Christmas tree. What you need to do is cut it in half, basically in half, and then in another half, like in fourths. You want to do fourths, and you want to equally decorate all of it. But more on that when that time comes. Right now, we're focusing on creating beautiful fall items. And so once again, I'm just gonna cut this right here on a dovetail on the bottom. I just absolutely adore this David Christopher's ribbon. Is so beautiful. It has that sparkle and it's just so glistening. All right, so now what I'm going to is I'm gonna do the same with our ribbon with the trucks, and I'm going to start right here. And I'm gonna try and make that one the middle one. And look how all of these loops up here, all of these tails is making our bow look like a funky bow, and it's just creating more depth into our wreath. So I'm gonna go right here like this and just twist, and look at that. I'm gonna do one more and just go right here. Isn't this beautiful? I just absolutely love it, you guys. All right, and you know what? I'm gonna cut right here. I'm gonna cut right there so our loops continue to go up. And so now I'm going to bring the wreath over to me one more time just to finish this. So what I'm going to do is give it a fresh dovetail. And once again, we're gonna start right here on the top, layering all of our ribbons. So I like to work with like 3 to 5 different ribbons just to create that depth and dimension that you get in texture more than anything. And if you feel like your loop is too loose, just go ahead and pull like that. And that way you can create more loops onto your wreath. Look at this. All right, so far so good. I'm gonna stop right here. I'm gonna give it a fresh dovetail and just give it that loop right there. You guys, you could stop right here really if you wanted to, but you know we are a Ramon at home. So what I'm going to do now is I'm gonna grab this particular ribbon, and I'm going to bring first of all my wires, and I'm gonna grab some of the thin wires that we have. This is how they come, and what I like to do is just grab a few and go like this. And I always like to have it in my handy. I always tell you that you have to have all of your tools at the ready in order to be a good crafter, because look, if I didn't have those at the ready right there, and I'm just looking for them right now, so I'm gonna put them right there on that little bottle. And so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna dovetail this guy right here, and I'm gonna bring my 1/7 of an inch, and I'm gonna cut that on an angle, and I'm gonna layer this guy right on top of it, and I wanna say about 12 inches, and I'm gonna cut right here, and then I'm going to dovetail like this. And so now what we want to do is we want to pinch right here in the middle. We're gonna grab one of our wires and pull really tight, pull like this, and so that's gonna give us 4 tails. And see, because we're not doing these 2 particular ribbons right here onto the loops, what we're going to do is we're going to bring them in as loops. And so I'm gonna attach right here. I'm gonna grab a bristle, and remember that you have to go all the way in like this, and then you pull them out so they show. And we're gonna do one more. So first you grab your ribbon, then we layer the other one, this 1/7 of an inch, and you do about a foot, then you cut again. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dovetail them together. And so now we basically fold them in half. We grab our wire, we put it in the middle, and we pull really tight to create that cinch. And then we twist really tight. So I'm gonna go to this side now, and I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna grab yet another one and go all the way in onto my bristle. And I'm gonna swirl that wire really securely and like that. And so now what you need to do is open all of those tails. All right, so I'm going to do a few more of these tails. I'm gonna do 2 more sets and I'll be right back to give you step number 5. Keep watching. All right, everyone, so step number 5 is going to be to add our foliages and some flowers and our picks to our wreath. But before I do that, I want to recap real quick. The very first step was to add our mesh material, which really helps to cover the greenery wreath form. Step number 2 was to add our plaque, and I absolutely love this plaque. Just a reminder, all of our colors come from that plaque. I'm gonna put it a little bit more like that. Step number 3 was to add the ribbon bows, and that is on a separate video like I mentioned to you before. Step number 4 was to add all of our ribbons right here and our tail. So step number 5 is going to be to add all of our foliages. And these particular stems, I'm gonna cut them all at once. You know I like to cut them all at once. Out of this stem, I'm gonna get 1, 2, 3. And these are also from David Christopher's. And by the way, shout out to David Christopher's, you guys. If you don't know David Christopher's, they have a YouTube channel here. And they have, I just love watching them because they're so much fun, David and Jen, and I just love watching them. And so if you don't know, I'm gonna link their channel down below so you guys can go check them out. And they put out some beautiful content for seasonal decorating. So I really recommend you check them out. All right, so what I'm going to do is, I'm gonna get also my hot glue gun, I'm gonna get it closer to me. I'm gonna add some glue to my stem and be generous with it. Don't be scared because you wanna make sure they really sticks. So I'm gonna start right here on the top and I'm gonna try and go in like that, kind of falling forward. So I'm gonna do one right there. And in this occasion, I'm gonna go all in this circular motion right here. You have to decide how many you want to use and separate them all throughout the wreath because you want the same foliage all throughout the wreath. So I'm gonna go right here, like that. You want it to really peekaboo from it. This one is a little long, so I'm gonna add this right here. And I'm gonna add some of this. And this is some of the items that I shared with you guys on my decorating shopping haul that I did from David Christopher's. If you haven't seen my shopping haul and all of the other items that I shop on their website, which is what I love about their website, is it's so accessible. And I just love the fact that you guys will be able to shop for the items. So 1, 2, 3, and I'm gonna do one more right here, like that. And I'm gonna add one more up here. So I'm gonna add this guy. Remember to add a lot of glue because that glue is going to hang on to the bristles and it really just helps it stay. And look at that, just that few foliages really helps to fill in our wreath. You know what, I have one more. I'm going to add it maybe, let's see, maybe on the bottom, why not? But for that I'm gonna have to lift it up. Let me see if I can go, oh yeah, I can go right here, like that. So it really fills in. All right, so that's our foliage. Now I'm gonna add some of these picks. They have the berries, the hydrangea, and some of these really pretty flowers. And be sure to play with all of the heads of the flowers. I'm gonna put plenty of glue on this one as well. Thumbs up if you guys are enjoying this video, and be sure to give this video a share so that way all of your friends and family also know about Ramon at Home and they can come enjoy the fun for the fall and the Christmas decorating. Is going to be so much fun. I promise that this year you will be dazzled, and I am just coming up with brand new ideas and ways to do what we always done, but to just teach you guys better ways to create your home decorating ideas and your DIYs, like this one right here. Look how pretty that is, and that little flower just adds a little bit of movement. For this one I have 5, so I'm going to play with all of the little heads of it. I'm gonna add a lot of glue on this stem, like this. I'm gonna bring this one right here. I'm gonna lift up my, like that. And so I'm gonna add one more right here. And see how it just fills in? It adds that hydrangea, it adds the berry and the little stem of flowers, and it's just so cute. Plenty of glue. Just be sure not to burn yourself. And for this particular one, I'm gonna lift up my bow and I'm gonna add it right here. Look how cute that is. And that's just a few flowers on the wreath, and I just absolutely love it. So for our next one, we're gonna add some of these sunflowers, and for that I'm going to cut all of them, some with foliage, some without, like this. And never pitch this. What we can do is cut those guys, and we can also add them to the wreath. Make sure that you use all of the product that you pay for, because, well, you already pay for it, so why not? Right, so give it a curvature also going up. Remember, the sunflowers do follow the sun, so you want to make sure that you have that. And I'm gonna add this guy right about here. And I already ran out of glue, but once again, having all of your tools at the ready really does help. And I'm gonna grab another one. This one, once again, just give it a little curvature. You know what? I do need my glue stick. You have to sometimes push it all the way. There we go. And adding a lot of glue. I'm going to add this guy somewhere in here. Like that. So 1, 2. I'm gonna go over here on this side. Give it a curvature. Add your glue. Like so. And make sure that you lift up your bow so you don't get them all glued up. Look at that. I'm gonna add one right about here, one without the foliage. Give it a curvature, add your glue, and we're going to add right in here. Look how beautiful. And so I'm gonna add the last one up here on the top. Give it the curvature to the head of the flower. Add all of your glue. And let it run like this. And so now I'm gonna lift up right here. And I'm gonna go right in here and make sure that it goes in. Look how full it already is. We have one last step and this wreath will be finished. So let me get all of the materials and I'll be right back. Keep watching. All right, you guys, so this is what our wreath looks like so far, and we only have one item left to add, and that's going to be our little pumpkins. And so for that, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab one of these skewers. I'm gonna cut this one a little bit shorter. And then what you wanna do is you wanna kinda give it an angle, and I poke a hole on it. And where I poke the hole, I'm gonna put some glue, and then I'm going to reinsert the skewer in it. So that way it'll stay like that. And so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna add some glue to my skewer. And I'm going to see the way that I want my pumpkin. I probably want it right about here. I'm gonna lift up all of my ribbons and I'm gonna insert this pumpkin like this to kind of hide. Look how cute that is. And so now I'm gonna add this longer one, and I kind of want it like this, maybe like that. And so now I'm gonna grab a skewer one more time. I'm gonna poke a hole on it like this. I'm gonna swirl it a little bit, pull it out, add some glue to the little hole, and then put that skewer back in, and that is gonna lock it in place. And so now I'm going to add some glue to my skewer, and I'm gonna put this right about here. And I have one more, and I think I wanna put it right next to this one. So sets of 3 2s and 1s. I'm gonna grab my little skewer, give it a little hole like this. Yep. Don't forget to put that glue in there to lock it in. And reinsert your skewer in it. And so now you can add some glue to the skewer. Be generous, remember, and smear it. Sometimes smearing it is the best thing you can do because it'll help it lock in like that. And so that's the finished product. I'm gonna fluff it. I'm gonna take it to the door and I'm gonna share with you what it looks like. Keep watching.